Hi guys, I am getting ready to make a pot roast in the crock pot. And these are the ingredients that I am using to make my pot roast. You're going to need 2 medium-sized onions. You're going to need some carrots, about maybe a cup and a half. You are going to need a roast, chuck roast or pot roast, some beef broth, some mushrooms. I'm using canned. I have 3 cans of mushrooms, salt and pepper to taste. You're also going to need garlic and onion powder. You're going to need 2 packs of brown gravy mix, a pack of au jus gravy, and a pack of onion soup mix. I'm going to get ready and start prepping my onions so we can load up the crock pot. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my onions chopped up. I'm going to do a rough chop on them. I'm not finely dicing them. So I'm just taking off the ends, and I'm using my garbage bowl, which is super handy to have when you're cutting vegetables. You don't have to run back and forth to the garbage. You just put everything into your garbage bowl. So I'm just going to give these onions a rough chop. Then I could just throw them into the crock pot on top of the roast. And they'll help also to flavor the roast. And they're great for an added vegetable as well. So you'll see that I'm just going to roughly chop, nothing fancy. And cutting them in half and then just rough chopping them. Makes it super easy when you don't have to fine dice them and just rough chop them. And you can break them up when you put them in the crock pot, break them up and spread all the pieces apart, or spread the onion apart. So they're separate pieces. But you see how fast this goes? It's just 1, 2, 3, chop, 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 and you're done. I love using my crock pot for Sunday dinners because I can leisurely do what I want on Sunday and let the crock pot do the work for me. It is so nice having a crock pot do the work. So I'm done chopping the onions, and then next we're going to load up the crock pot. So the first thing I did was season the roast with some garlic and onion powder and a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I put that in there. Now my roast was slightly still frozen, but it will, once it starts cooking, it will fit correctly in the crock pot. This is a 6-quart crock pot, so I'm not worried about it. I know it will fit. I do have a bigger crock pot, but this one will fit just fine. So then I'm just going to start adding all the remaining ingredients and giving it a stir, making sure everything actually gets under the roast at this time because the roast is still semi-frozen. So I'm putting my carrots in, and then I'm going to put in the remaining ingredients, as you'll see. There goes the mushrooms. And my family likes mushrooms, and especially with a roast in the crock pot, it's just awesome having mushrooms. You can use fresh. I did not have fresh at the time, so I just used what's on hand, and can works just fine. Just make sure you drain. I did not use any of the juice from the mushrooms. I drained them before I put them in. Now that's about a cup of beef broth. And I will have the recipe linked down below in the description box so you don't have to memorize what I'm saying here. And it will also be posted on my blog site, ruthiecancook.com, as well, with step-by-step instructions. So I'm going to now add in some water because I need a little bit more water. I needed to add water because we're putting in the gravy packs as well as the au jus pack, and that does need water. So I wanted to make sure I did add some water. I didn't put all broth because broth can be salty, and I didn't want this to be over salty, so I did the broth, and then I'm going to add in the water and the packets now. So there's the au jus pack. Now I'll be adding in the gravy pack along with the onion soup mix. And the onion soup mix you can either get brand or you can get Aldi's, which is pretty much everything here except for the au jus came from Aldi. So if you're on a budget like me, you can definitely shop your ingredients at Aldi. This is an Aldi roast. first time trying it, and it came out wonderful. I was shocked. So I know now where to get my pot roast from. There's the gravy mix. I'm going to add in all the gravy. Okay, trying to give it a stir. So because the roast is not all the way to the bottom, so I'm going to try to get some of the ingredients to go to the bottom underneath the roast right now. And then once the roast does start cooking, it'll shrink up, because roasts always shrink. It'll shrink up and then it'll fit in the crock pot just fine. But it's super easy. This is great for Sunday meals. And you serve this with some mashed potatoes or rice, whatever your side preference dish is. So I'm just making sure everything's incorporated, everything is in there, and then I'm setting this on low, and I'm going to cook this for about 7 to 7.5 hours. Oh yeah, you know what? I forgot the onions. All that chopping, and I forgot to put the onions in. Here we go. I'm going to put the onions right on top. And the onions gave this roast an awesome flavor. And they melted down so nicely. You will see in the end how nicely this roast came out. So now all the ingredients are finally in the pot. I'm trying to give that a good stir. I'm going to leave some of them on top to help flavor the roast as well. And then now we can cook it for 7 to 7.5 hours on low. This is where I'm checking it to see how the roast is doing. And look at the gravy. Oh my goodness. That looks amazing. The roast was almost fork tender. And you want the roast to be where it pretty much falls apart. So almost done. But this is maybe 30 minutes before done. Doesn't that look awesome? Well, here is the final product finally. Everybody is starving, and I served it with some mashed potatoes. This was an amazing roast, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And I'll talk to you next time.